We start though tonight with this question. Did fighting at the Lobo Aggie football game in Las Cruces just weeks ago spark a deadly shooting on UNM's campus over the weekend? We have learned so much more about what led to that shooting that continues to shock people at both of our state's major universities.
This entire incident may have been an attempt at revenge for fighting at the rivalry football game earlier this year. It's now ultimately affecting another sport, causing a postponed Rio Grande rivalry basketball game. Ryan Laughlin is tracking the latest from investigators, the universities, and court documents. Ryan, what's the latest?
Well, so far it appears 5 university students were involved, including 4 from UNM and 1 from NMSU, including Mike Peak, a star Aggie basketball player. He's now recovering from his injuries. 1 UNM student is dead, and at least 2 others are now facing charges. This is one of the suspects, 19-year-old Jonathan Smith, another student wrapped up in Saturday's deadly shooting at UNM. Many on campus still shocked.
I had heard the gunshots. I looked out my window and I could see Brandon lying there.
UNM student Dylan Farrell was inside his dorm when the shooting happened. He says his friend recognized 19-year-old Brandon Travis as the student who was shot and killed. Farrell thought he could help.
He had a Glock 9mm on him when we found him, and he was shot, so I didn't see any other weapons, but I assume that there was a few other people with weapons.
The details in this arrest warrant affidavit confirm that. According to state police investigators, Jonathan Smith conspired with Brandon Travis and at least 2 other students to lure New Mexico State basketball star Michael Peak onto the UNM campus. One of the suspects, a 17-year-old student, told investigators Brandon wanted to jump Michael because Michael and his friends had beat him up badly at a recent UNM-NMSU football game in Las Cruces. Videos posted on social media show some of the fighting that broke out that day. Investigators say those involved in Saturday's shooting wanted to get revenge on Michael Peak for his alleged involvement. According to the arrest warrant affidavit, after a 17-year-old female student lured Michael Peak to campus, Brandon Travis pointed a gun at Michael's face, and another student hit Michael in the leg with a baseball bat. Michael took off running and eventually pulled out a gun and shot toward Brandon, killing him. Michael Peak is recovering from his injuries, including a gunshot wound to the leg. Jonathan Smith is charged with aggravated battery, conspiracy, and tampering with evidence, and at the same time, innocent students are stuck with the reality of what just happened.
When I told them, my parents were pretty worried. They wanted me to come home right away. And it just sucks that you have to worry about that kind of stuff when you're just trying to go to college.
So prosecutors have filed to keep Smith locked up. He will have a pretrial detention hearing likely next week. Meanwhile, New Mexico State leadership just answered a bunch of our questions. They say they were aware of that fight that broke out at the football game, and now it sounds like the next Lobo versus Aggie game scheduled for next week is now up in the air. We have much more on what NMSU has to say about their student athlete involved in the center of all of this coming up tonight at 6. Guys.